Welcome to the Spare Parts Racing Podcast, your podcast for all things motorsports. With your hosts, Sean Chavarella, Stephen Clary, and Taylor Moore.
Hear that music?
Hello, and welcome to another week, what are we called again? Spare Parts Racing, that's the one.
Jesus, fuck.
Listen, I'm tired.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm Sean.
I'm Steven.
I'm Taylor.
And I just had a mini stroke, apparently. You know what happens? It happens.
It's Tuesday.
The frequency that it happens with to you is the concerning part.
Brain trauma in sports, what can I say? Yeah. So how's everyone doing?
Hell as old as time. Fantastic. It's
Everyone-
Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
It's good. Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Yeah. F1 starts this week, so, you know.
I was going to say, but more importantly, it's race week.
Yay! I mean, technically it's been race week since the, official race season start in, January? But it's F1 race week, which we get, super excited for.
Okay, before we get into F1 season preview and all that, I have to ask you guys, did anyone catch the NASCAR Atlanta race?
The end of it was very exciting.
I didn't, watch it because I honestly forgot that NASCAR was on Sundays. But I did watch the extended. Okay, to be fair, the Daytona 500 was on a Monday, so it screwed up my whole thing, thinking.
You know what?
Anyway.
That's valid, I guess. Fine.
I did watch the extended highlights today, and that ending was insane.
Yeah, third closest, I think, finish ever in NASCAR.
There's been
Yeah.
closer. They were what was it, 0.003
Yes.
apart? That is insane. And there's been closer finishes.
Yeah,
Oh
there
my
was
gosh.
this one finish. It had a rookie, a veteran, and a green car that all came to line at the exact same time. One of the guys had to stick their tongue out in order to get the tie.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
However,
All right.
the amount of comparisons to cars in that photo,
Yes.
Yeah.
it technically is the closest 3-wide finish in NASCAR.
Mm.
But in terms of, I guess, the other finish, yes, there's been closer.
Wow.
Yes. There's was it? Because I think one of the closer ones was the Ricky Craven, was a Kurt Busch one. And that one, people were kind of comparing it to this one's not the first time someone got their second NASCAR win in a photo finish second NASCAR win, first on an oval in a photo finish, beating a Busch. So yeah.
If I had a nickel for every time that's happened, I'd have 2 nickels. Still weird that it happened twice.
At least get the fucking quote right if you're gonna do it, man.
What do you mean? How did I
You
get it
skipped the
wrong?
line.
Which part?
It's not a lot. That's what happened twice.
Didn't I say that?
No.
No.
See, you're stroking out too, man. It's just that day.
He did say that.
He didn't get. I don't know, did he? He didn't have the exact
It's
I
fine.
cadence.
maybe you just had another stroke.
You didn't have the cadence right of the line. How about that?
Okay, so now it's changing. It used to be you
The
just didn't get the
quote wasn't
line right.
right.
But now it's the cadence of the way
Yes,
it's delivered.
the quote wasn't right. For me and
I don't even
Steven,
know what quote you're talking about. So
90% of our communication to each other is from either song, movie, or TV show quotes. We really do not actually have normal conversations. We speak in quotes.
Yeah.
So I will hold him to get the quotes right.
Man.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You guys do quote at each other a lot. A
Yeah.
lot.
Anyway, so NASCAR Atlanta. Start of the race was rough. They didn't get a lap in before they had a massive wreck that took out at least 8 cars. And then the first stage was kind of awkward where there was no flow to it, basically. It was get a couple laps, caution, and it just didn't flow at all. You finally got into a rhythm in the second stage, which was nice. You had good green flag runs. Third stage, kind of similar thing. towards the end of the second stage, beginning of the third, you started to see more, even like single car spins, which like
Gotcha.
you don't really see those anymore. But those used to happen a lot back in the day, where just a single car would spin and up. There's a caution, and like not even like backmarker guys, like good drivers, like top guys who are, yeah. It's hard to handle it there with that package and. Thanks, Steven. But like with that Super Speedway package on that day in the dirty air, yeah, it was the cars were difficult to handle, and you had a lot of guys wrecking, spinning. Not many guys left that racetrack with a clean day. You know, most guys had some kind of incident, surprisingly. Mm-hmm. But the amazing thing I've seen since the NASCAR race is the amount of people being like, you know, maybe we should do what we did to Atlanta to more tracks. Because, yeah, you had one that was a success. So, they all have to be this way now? Is that the racing you want every week?
Apparently. I don't know.
It's just interesting. Like there was a lot of people who were the I guess the guys who were shitting on Atlanta before, and it's like, oh well, it's just like lipstick on a pig what they've done with the resurfacing and the new package, all that. And then this race again, I don't actually think the race entirely was that good. It was kind of jumbly at times, I will say, but it had a fantastic finish.
Well,
that's all anyone's going to remember. So
exactly. However, it's also been two races this year, NASCAR. Both no overtime, no green white checker bullshit, and both great races. So NASCAR's in a high to start the season. They've had 2 bangers to go with.
Well, let's hope that the trajectory of the season continues going up and not like plummets down into just awful.
As I have said every time, not every race can be a banger.
Oh, of course not.
I think
Of
for
course not.
I think for NASCAR fans to expect that is a little ridiculous, and for people to say they now want to turn more mile and a halves into that
pseudo speedways.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good idea. I'd rather them just get, maybe a little more power in the cars. That'd be nice. That's the thing. Despite how close that finish was, the reason it's still the third closest is because the cars are not fast enough. If the cars were going faster, it's a closer finish. Even though it was, 0.003? Yeah, and 0.007, so 7 thousandths from third to first. Which is nuts.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, losing like that sucks. Oh, that pissed me off. I had Blaney as my pick.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was like, no. Oh, well.
Aww.
It was good for Suarez to get a second win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going to have to sweat it out like last year.
Yep, man. He easily locks his way into the playoffs. You already have 2 guys who were in the playoffs last year who are already locked in. So
not really surprising. Actually, well,
I think Suarez is a bit of a surprise, to be honest.
No. I was going to say not really surprising that 2 guys that were in the playoffs last year have locked themselves in already, and that mostly that we have 2 repeat winners from last year. It's just not the 2 you would have necessarily thought of.
But like you would also think in those 2 tracks, like Daytona and New Atlanta, they are the wild cards where, in theory, anyone can win.
That's fair.
So I think it actually is pretty interesting that the guys who seem to be consistently winning are also the guys who are you expect to be there. Like, I don't think you've had many surprises in like the top 5 of the races. Like the biggest surprise was I think Corey LaJoie in the 500. Everyone else, Nope, they seem to be the guys you expect to be there. Even Suarez winning. That's, yeah, he won before. Makes sense. Bubba has 2 top 5s to start the year. That's actually arguably shocking.
Austin Cindric is third
In what points?
in points,
Good for
or
him.
tied for second with Byron.
Who's in first?
The guy who came third.
Kyle Busch?
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh wow,
okay.
really?
I'd say that's his consolation prize. He has a 1-point lead over Byron and Cindric.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 2 races into a 36 race season, so no
Yeah,
point
there's
getting
still
too
lots
excited.
of racing.
Exactly. But I mean, like, I feel like you kind of expect that.
What, Bush to be leading?
But no, the guys in the
Okay.
position they're in to be, I guess, what is it? Like, the guys that are there in the top 5, top 10 in points are the guys you would expect. Even 2 races in, there's not a whole lot of shock. Yeah, Cindric having a bounce back year already a start, not bad. Yeah. Like, Corey LaJoy 12th is the shock. And that's the first shock, is 12 down.
Well,
Also, 'cause he's
12 and
riding.
13. 12 and 13. John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I mean, again, 2 races in.
And they're in Vegas this week, which should be fun. Still have PTSD from that track. Anyway, I hate that track.
Las Vegas?
Yes,
Why?
Dan
Well,
Weldon.
I was gonna say, is that
okay.
is that your transition to the news we got today?
Oh no, actually, no, not at all. But yeah, we can talk about that.
Because that I'm very excited for. Actually,
Yes,
the was it? It's called Lionheart, right? Or the Lionheart,
yes, something like that. It's the
Which is-
HBO documentary on like.
Dan Weldon's life, but it seems like they're also going to cover his kids and
Is it
how
him?
they're getting.
Yeah,
Well, because they highlight, if you go back and watch the trailer, they highlight like 2 generations of racing drivers. So I think they're gonna sort of do an update on where the kids are.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, which like it's going to be very interesting to see like his wife perspective on like how difficult it must be to like accept her son's dream of being like racing drivers while her husband was like killed in such an awful crash.
Honestly,
That must be just like really hard.
there's so much of that story, which of the Weldons, that is absolutely fascinating and one of the best stories in motorsports, surprisingly, because yes, as great as he had that year to win the 500, to then be killed the last race, then you have his sons wanting to also race, his wife supporting them and basically doing everything she can to get them, the kids, I think only the older son, I can't remember his name right now.
Sebastian or
Sebastian, I think, is the older one.
Oliver's the younger.
Yeah, I think I think Sebastian's the only one who actually remembers his dad.
Oh.
Yeah,
Because how long ago now was that? That's
2011.
so over 10 years ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And didn't Sebastian get signed to? I think it was USF rookies. I think it was for this season.
I don't
Pulling
remember,
that
to be honest.
up. Yeah. Oh, sorry. USF
That's kinda-
Juniors. Yes, USF Juniors.
Okay.
Okay.
And yes, he is racing USF Juniors, which is good for him. Which is like the first, I guess, step on road to Indy before you get to the actual like USF 2000 and then Indy Pro. How old is he? He is 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you take into account the fact that it was something that happened 13 years ago,
Yeah.
he was 12, or sorry, 12. He was 2
I think it was 3
Wow.
actually, but yeah.
or 3, 2 or 3, depending on when the race. I can't remember the exact date of the race, but it would have been in the summer,
Yeah.
right? So
Man, that's a good story. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, to be honest, like I don't really actually know much about any of that, so I'm looking forward to learning about his story, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I was like getting teary eyed watching the trailer, so I'm like, I'm gonna probably
Aw.
cry. I'm gonna cry in this movie. So yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like the Senna documentary makes me cry like every single time I watch it. So I'm sure this will be a real like the waterworks will be there.
I don't think I've cried in the Sen documentary.
Oh, it gets me every
I think 'cause I
time.
know where it's going.
Well,
I mean, you know where this
yeah.
one's going, so
I feel like you don't. Like you know the starting point, but if it's the story of the kids, you don't really know where it's going, right?
that's fair.
But yeah.
That's fair.
Well, I mean, there will be a part in the movie that is very sad. Like I'm assuming they'll cover like his life up until the crash. So there is going to be a point that's very, very sad. So
Yeah, I hope they also get like even from the trailer, they obviously have a lot of the guys who raced with him. Like I think Dixon was in
Oh.
it, like Kanan giving their and also those guys have been huge in supporting the kids as well. So yeah, that should be a pretty fun documentary. When does that come out again?
March. Where was it? March 12th. So
Oh,
a couple
soon.
weeks. Couple weeks.
Nice.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Something to keep an eye on.
So anything else news wise talk about?
No.
I'm trying to think. I don't think so because we were talking a little bit before this. Like nothing's come out on Horner yet.
No, we're still waiting for
Nope.
that shoe to drop.
Yep.
Yeah, the decision, at least what like Twitter was saying, is the decision was supposed to come out today or tomorrow. So I guess if not today, then tomorrow,
So
hopefully.
Tomorrow we have a decision. If this, we're obviously gonna be out before then. Do you want to take a guess of what the decision is?
Yeah, I mean my guess is it's going to be a slap on the wrist, and he's probably going to still be team principal.
I'm not gonna lie, that's exactly what I think too.
Yeah.
I saw a whole thing too is that they need basically, I think it's the Thai ownership of Red Bull to also sign off on it.
So then it'll break down. Here, let's do a quick reenactment here. Here's how it's going to work. He did shit. We should fire him. But on the other hand, money. All right. Well, I'm sold on money, so
If we pay the
Yeah,
person
pretty
to
much.
shut up, how much do we have to pay them and still make money?
yes.
Well,
the
Horner
cost
already
benefit?
tried to pay them off. So, and he was offering 650,000 pounds.
That's nothing.
So I don't know what Red Bull thinks they're gonna try and get away with, but I don't know. We'll see. I think it's gonna end up being a slap on the wrist, and it's unfortunate that. I mean, that's like the realistic, I think, prediction that we could probably make.
It seems to be how these things usually go.
Yeah, and why would they want to get rid of someone who has clearly brought so much success to Red Bull? Like, a lot of Red Bull's success is because like Horner is steering that ship in a very particular way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got. I got nothing on that. I fucking hate it. I wish he would get kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he's still there.
Yeah, I so wish that the conversation would be so different, and us being like, yeah, you know what? I think it's realistic to say that he'd get fired because that's what should happen. But it's F1, and we know time and time again, all they really care about is money, and like ownership would care about success because they're pouring millions of dollars into this team. So
And like the longer it goes on, the more I'm thinking nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
it's like, how do we get out of this? How do we PR our way out of this? Is probably now the thought process, not the we need to discipline him for this action. It's okay. How do we move forward? Obviously, you're not getting kicked out. We can't do that. So we're gonna do this next step. So yeah, I feel like if he was gonna get sacked, it would have been like last week. Just nope, that's unacceptable. Out the door. But because it's not that. Yeah.
It's a how do we word that we're going to make him take courses for whatever he did.
Do we know exactly what it was yet?
There's been so many different things that have come out. So because it was leaked to the media, which is like a whole other like conspiracy theory, there have been like it's been between somebody complained about his aggressive behavior in management. So basically he's an angry dude, walks around yelling at people. But there's also been, it was sexually transgressive behavior, and he was, like, there was text to prove that he was sending, like, the female employee, like, messages over a period of time. I don't know. So, like, there's just been two different things that have come out. So we're not, like, I don't particularly know what the truth is. I'm not sure we're ever going to actually know what the truth is.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's fair. I think if he was getting fired, we would know what the truth was. But if it's obviously, I think we all are in agreement, he's probably not going to be at this point. So yeah, we may never actually know exactly what transpired specifically. Which is unfortunate because I think, if Red Bull got decapitated, metaphorically, obviously, of losing Horner, that could have been a very interesting start to the season.
Especially if he's fired tomorrow morning. We're recording on Tuesday, so, Wednesday at Media Day. Oh, yeah, that'd be a fucking show.
So they're not going to do it then?
No. It'll be like Wednesday night, probably, after Media Day.
You still think he's going to get fired? You would actually still think that?
No.
Like, you have enough Delulu to think, oh, maybe they'll do it tomorrow.
No, I don't think they would.
Okay, because
I'm saying the announcement will be, regardless of which way it goes, would be tomorrow after Media Day.
Oh,
then
okay.
We don't have to answer. Then he doesn't have to answer any questions. Social media intern, you there that is like doing this for minimum wage.
Hey, Johnny's cousin, I need you to make this post. Thank you.
Yeah. Just make sure you put "we have no further comment" at this time at the end.
Yeah. And then someone has to post, without my knowledge, they posted this. And...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it be F1 if we didn't get a random tweet like that?
Oh, I really expect that someone to make a fake Horner burner account and tweet that out.
Yeah.
Of course.
But yeah. So besides the Horner bullshit, testing happened.
Woohoo!
Do we want to read?
Yay!
Do you want to go into the breakdown and read too much into testing times and give our thoughts for this year?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Take it away.
Just fast forward to Abu Dhabi, give Max the trophy.
Yeah, that's
simple as that.
I think we're on agreement. Red Bull looks bullshit fast.
Yeah, again, here we go.
Now the question is Sergio actually going to be a challenge or mediocre? Like, can someone beat Red Bull to the championship because their two drivers excel and basically are always 2-3 beating Sergio? Or is Red Bull just going to be running away with it?
I think it'll be closer. Part of that is also just hoping it'll be closer. Yeah, I don't see, like, if I you know what that's what I meant to do today is see if there's the over under wins for Verstappen this year again. Because last year was what, 15?
I think it was, yeah.
So I'm curious on if that number has stayed the same or gone down or gone up.
That's a good question.
Because I don't think.
What were the odds you have to be for him to have a perfect season?
Oh my gosh. A
even
perfect
know.
season?
Yeah. I said what
Like
I said.
you would basically be betting that Sergio just like can't be there in pace. Like he just can't match Verstappen at all. And also be betting that the Red Bull would actually be good in Singapore this year.
Ooh, yeah. And be good in, what's it called? Monaco. Because that one they almost lost.
Did they? I thought he won in Monaco last year.
He did, but they didn't win that.
Oh, true.
Aston Martin lost it.
Right. Right. Now I remember. I was very mad at that whole thing. Yeah, so that's truly betting on like horrible records in both of those places.
Whew.
Especially Singapore, because they have just never been good there. Never.
We do not have an over-under for wins, and I'm mildly disappointed.
Boo.
However, if you really want to look at something right now, fastest in practice won. Max is at least plus odds. I feel like you should take that, but it's just me.
No, I found it. Driver to win 17 plus races.
Ooh.
Max is still minus 138, so he's still favored to win 17 plus races. I wish there was a counter to it.
Oh, that hurts.
To win 12 races this year, he's at minus 2,500. So for those that are not betting aficionados, if I bet $5 on that, I make 20 cents. That's how good or how likely the sports books think it is that he wins 12 races.
Yeah, well.
So,
oh my gosh.
Again, give Max the trophy and let's just get it over with. I will be turning the race off after every single checkered flag because I don't want to listen to the Dutch national anthem 15 plus times.
What?
What?
I don't think that's right.
I don't know. It's one of the two. Anyway.
But so yeah, for the best for everybody else, let's go through everybody else and we can do the pseudo championship.
Okay, so let's just talk every team through it. Do you want to go reverse constructors from last year?
Sure. And you know what? Just to save us some time, I think we're all in agreement. We're all going to have Red Bull at the top, right? Because I'm doing our little constructor here.
Okay, let's go through the teams and expectations,
Actually,
and then let's go actual predictions.
No.
Listen here, you Delulu Ferrari fan. Fuck off.
Let me be Delulu.
No.
At the very least, I'm putting Verstappen at the top of every list because
yeah, no, that I'm not dumb. I might be Delulu, but I'm not dumb.
What did we have last year? We had Leclerc. Someone put Leclerc ahead of Verstappen.
Anyway, okay, so Red Bull this year, expectations is more dominance, really. Anything besides that basically is a failure.
Again, the one note from some of the journalists was one team made a ton of time this year. It was the one team no one wants it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very similar season, I think, to last year, unfortunately.
Agreed.
Which is just going to be Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull, and the Dutch national anthem for how many races do we have? 23? 24?
Yeah.
23?
A lot.
So I would say a solid 19 times we're going to hear the Dutch national anthem.
That's fair. Okay, so Mercedes then?
Mercedes. The last hurrah of Lewis Hamilton and the Silver Arrows.
Go out with a whimper, go out with a bang.
Well,
I'm gonna say one
honestly,
vote.
like, yeah, I'm just not sure that they are on the right side of the regulations currently. I think maybe we'll see a resurgence in the rule change in 2026, but I think they're just struggling right now and they're trying to figure out what to do. And honestly, I'd put them, like, they might be there challenging the Ferrari, challenging Aston, challenging McLaren, but I could see them being solidly like fourth.
I think this year, like, I think Mercedes wants to be second best again. They want to do all that. I just don't know if they do. And with the extra drama of Hamilton leaving, that may make the team a little more secretive and not gel well. Like, I think we've seen the death of Mercedes. I don't know if we're going to see them be 1-2 until new regulations come in.
Well,
like,
I
also
also
3-4 championship, I think, at the minimum.
Yeah, I think it's also a big thing that Lewis is leaving because it says so much more than just like, well, you know, every race driver wants to be in the Ferrari red, like that's the dream. I think it's also Lewis saying, I no longer have faith in this team to get me what I want. Is basically like, we all know that Lewis wants the 8th championship and he's going to choose the best option to get him there. And him leaving Mercedes is saying, I no longer believe that I can do it with this team. I also read on Twitter that it's rumored that Toto was the one that leaked it to the press before the announcement was actually coming. And I'm like, is there going to be some, like,
You know, I wouldn't be surprised.
Is there tension?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually someone within Mercedes itself to do that, though.
But I could also see it being Toto. I'm not going to lie. Like,
Yeah.
Toto is a shrewd businessman at his core. So, anyway, I think maybe Mercedes takes a little bit more of a hit from that Lewis news than we think.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Yeah, it was already down to a 3-point gap at the end of last year with Ferrari. I could very easily see them getting surpassed by 1, if not 2 teams.
Yeah.
And we know there's a lot of politics in this, or in this series specifically. I want a new over-under on the betting sites. How many
points
times does Hamilton get frustrated
about
some call that they make in favor of Russell, and him and Toto have an exchange over radio?
None. Maybe one, because I think everyone has that once in a season. I'm gonna say it's gonna be business as usual, and it's not gonna matter because they're not gonna actually fight for anything that's meaningful.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah, if he's gonna bitch over a 4th or 5th place, yeah, fuck off. And Hamilton knows that. He's not gonna bitch over that.
No, also, like, what would be the point, right? Like, you know, you're going to a better team next year, and at this point, you're just kind of doing your best with what you're given. But I think I don't know. It's just like there was so much about that decision, and you honestly wonder, did he step into the Mercedes this year and be like, yeah, no, like this is just not going to go very well.
Yeah.
So maybe his decision also tells us more about what to expect from Mercedes this year, performance-wise.
So speaking of that better team you're mentioning, Ferrari for this year.
Yes. My team. So Ferrari is going to do so well this year.
If you were Ferrari, what is your expectation?
Honestly, second. Like, I think that would be the expectation because the car, they struggled with strategy like mostly last season.
They struggled with tires a lot too.
They did. So I think we're going to see a better performance. Like, that's always the hope with Ferrari is that you see a better performance. But I think like the the car is there. They just have to figure some things out. So I hope that they just don't Ferrari themselves again this year.
We know it's
That's
going to
a lot.
happen. Come on. now.
Yeah, I know that's asking a lot, but I could see them in second for sure. Like pace looks good, so if strategy pans out and they can, tire manage, then can't see why not.
I think they want to at least get 1 or 2 wins.
Yeah.
I think same
I
as
think
last
they'll-
year with like Aston Martin being the number 2 team. There was times where they could have won, and they shot themselves. I think Ferrari will be they'll be obviously the number 1 team chasing Red Bull.
Yes. I mean, if they pulled out more than 2 wins this season, that would be a miracle.
Okay, let's settle down there.
All right.
Anything else for Ferrari?
I was going to say something about Sainz, but no. Be interesting to see how he does. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, you mean does he purposely torpedo himself because?
Not quite that far, but
I mean,
be interesting to see how he goes.
hey Carlos, go
mean-
crash into Max, ruin his fucking thing.
But would he not want to be putting himself in a place of at least trying to get a seat for 2025? Even though we know he's going to Audi in 2026, would he not at least be trying to put himself somewhere so that he could get that seat on the grid for next year?
Wait, he's going to Audi? Since when?
Has that not been the rumor for so long, and it's basically a done deal that he's going to Audi in 2026?
I mean, I haven't seen a done deal. But if it's a rumor, it's a rumor. I don't know if it's going to be a
Okay,
thing
fine.
yet. So I would still hold off on saying that's going to happen. You never know, especially if he is out of a job for next year. Shit changes all the time.
Well, it's okay. So anyway, going back to my point though, is that whether or not he's going to Audi for 2026, whether it's a done deal or not, he still knows he's out of his seat. So he still has to perform well to show people he's worth having on their team, right?
Yeah.
Honestly,
guess.
that drive for him to want to be in F1 though, I feel that could actually work out very well, in his favor and Ferrari's favor, right? Because he's gonna want to go for it. But if he goes for it in an aggressive way, it might not. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to see what his performance is like. I don't know. But it's a good point. You don't know in those situations how they're going to take it and how that's going to transfer onto the track.
So McLaren.
McLaren. They look good.
I think they want
think.
to. They want to beat. I think they want to beat Mercedes. That's I think their goal for the year. Beat Mercedes. Be the second best team if they can, but beat Mercedes.
I think that, I think they want to beat Mercedes, and I think ideally they want to be competing at the same level as Aston Martin.
I mean, they competed
I
better than
think
Aston
that
Martin
could
last year,
be-
technically, but I think they want to be like
True.
Aston was last year, but not fuck it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
They want to take Aston's first half of the season when they were puttering around in 16th and 17th and then
their
combine it with their development path.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hopeful, right? With how they ended last year, being in the mix for, fourth, they
Yeah.
hopefully can carry that success over. And,
I can easily see them
you know,
being third.
start. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I would say fighting with Mercedes might not even be a lofty enough goal. I think they want to be fighting with Ferrari.
Yeah.
Will they act
Mhm.
or maybe it's fight with Mercedes. That's our main goal.
Beat Mercedes. is the goal.
Beating is the goal.
Yeah.
Stretch goal, beat Ferrari, or at the very least be
Challenge.
within. Yeah, be in the fight at Abu Dhabi.
Literally
like
what
they
I
were
said
last
to start the talk. I said beat Mercedes, challenge Ferrari. Literally how I started that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm agreeing.
Okay.
So we are all in agreement. That
Aston
makes
Martin.
sense.
Yeah. Same as last year, just don't fuck it up.
Basically.
Take
Yeah,
McLaren,
just-
copy paste.
Exactly. Be
Either-
strong.
Either
Don't
be in that top
mess
thing,
it up.
but separate yourself from everyone behind you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, the top 5 seems to be the top 5 now for F1, and there's a distinct hierarchy to that now. Alpine.
Oh,
Yeah.
bad.
Survive.
Bad. They've already said,
Yeah.
yeah, survive. Like, they have already said, not going to be good this year. Like,
Their car's a
which
mess.
to me, I'm like, yeah, it's a total mess. So I'm like, where do we even put this on the ranking? Do we just like assume that maybe Haas is going to be worse because it's Haas? But we don't know that.
Yeah.
The fact that there are like the team is already like, well, we don't know.
Nail it in.
Yeah. Alpine has money and backing, but no fucking resources. Like, they've had a complete brain drain of everyone getting just like everyone at the top of that organization has just been like last like 2 years tops. And there is
Yeah.
so we talk about Red Bull having Horner forever steering that ship. Alpine has no one steering that ship. The steering broke a long time ago, and it's just going in a circle.
Yeah. Yeah, they are organizationally a total mess, a disaster.
A train wreck.
You know where
I'd
they're
say.
sort of heading? I'd say, you know where they're sort of heading to? They're sort of heading towards like poor man's Ferrari from a couple of years ago, where the whole identity is just being a national team. Team leader has to be French. Otmar didn't speak enough French. So who do we bring in? We bring in Bruno, who in Drive to Survive only speaks French.
Yeah, that's fair.
Other than a little bit of English.
Wait,
We got two French
who's
drivers.
their principal again?
Bruno Famin?
That's actually I had
Yeah.
no fucking idea. If you were to tell me who their principal was, and he speaks only French, you know, survive.
Mostly. He mostly speaks.
Mostly.
Like all the sit down interviews, he's speaking French.
So
The
they
times he's
pulled
speaking
Bernardo.
English is
Holy
if he's
shit.
doing exactly.
Well,
The
so did
times he's
Vassar.
Vassar only spoke Italian again.
No, Vassar-
Vassar spoke French most of the time, but
Yes,
in his
but-
during the grid, like when he was on the grid talking to other people, he spoke English, but in the interviews he only spoke French.
but he's working for an Italian team, so it's not the
Not as
same.
bad,
See
yeah.
where we're
True.
going? Monado was Italian
fair.
Italian speaking Italian.
Oh, okay, I see.
Get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying,
Like-
but still, like it's still weird that
And all
they
the
would
English
just
teams
only-
speak English.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah. So though it is funny, and are we gonna talk about Drive to Survive since Sean didn't watch it yet?
Yeah, we'll
Or
get
how
there.
far did you get?
Listen, we'll finish off going through the
Okay.
What's it called? The expectations for each team. We'll hit Drive Survive, and then we'll give our predictions and go through our fantasy team. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so we're going to Alpine.
So
They're going to
who's next?
suck. Williams, who went 7th last year. Good for them.
Yeah, I think honestly we could see a solid like maybe 6 or a repeat
Yeah.
7 from them again. Like if Alpine is gonna
I-
be that trash,
I can see them being 7 again. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get, but
it all
I think it's
depends
just
on-
stay the course.
it depends on the back half of the field is kind of like a mishmash of like, all right, who's gonna kind of like be worse. But Williams has been on like a steady growth over the past few seasons. So I could see them like competing solidly in the midfield. I would say for Williams, their goal would be competing like regularly with maybe V-Carb.
I think V-Carb has a higher goal than that. But yeah, I would say like for Williams, it's again, I would say stay the course, keep developing your guys, make sure your shit's in order. Don't be last. Luck into points here and there.
Yeah.
Just keep doing what you're doing, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Just, yeah.
Hope Sargent can take a step and find a little something.
Oh, yeah. So true.
Would be nice, yeah.
In a slightly better car. That's their hope.
8th for last year was AlphaTauri. Now VCarb.
Ugh. Yeah. I could see them being solidly again in that midfield fight.
Yeah.
I think-
they'll be that, like, scrapping for the 10th spot and stuff like that, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think they'll be scrapping for points, but I could also see, like, maybe in a few places they, are kind of up there. Like, we could see them, getting the points of 5th, getting the points of 4th. Like, I feel like there's going to be those anomalies throughout the season. It just, like, it just all kind of depends. Because, again, we can't read that much into testing. We say that every year, and then we completely read into testing. But I don't know. I feel like Ricardo could have a really good year this year.
Yep.
And
Yuki
who
could
knows?
also take that step too, just really showing he deserves to be there long term in F1.
Mhm.
Yep. I mean, we know though that, like, well, we'll talk about it, but we know that Ricardo's goal is back at Red Bull, so
It is.
We'll
And that's
see.
where that's where it gets really interesting too, is how long of a leash does everybody get within the Red Bull family? You have Liam Lawson knocking on the doorstep.
If you're Horner, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Back to that conversation. Anyway, Alfa Romeo. I'm sorry. Kick, Sauber, Steak.
Steak F1.
Fucking bullshit.
I don't think that's part of the name, no. It's
Fucking
longer,
okay.
but I don't think that's part of it.
The Kermit Mobile.
Billboard 2.
Aw.
Yeah,
Eight.
just don't be
Yeah.
last.
Don't be last. We'll
Steal
see.
a point somewhere.
Yeah. Get a
And-
point here and there.
And Haas, same thing. Don't be last. That's their goals.
Yeah.
Be better than the Alpine, which apparently has already written off their season. So that's the goal.
That's fair.
Like, I can't, like, just how yikes. I'm like, I still somewhat can't comprehend that the Alpines have, like, literally zero faith in their car to the point where they're just like, whatever. This sucks.
No, I can believe it. Again, that team has just been so handicapped the last few years that, like, what can you do, really?
It just sucks for Gasly. Like, I don't really care about Ocon, whatever. Just sucks for Gasly because, like, I feel like he really was hoping to move somewhere that was, like, not
There.
that was a better choice than, like, a worse choice. So
It's funny
We'll
where it's
see.
literally something that's been completely out of the driver's control.
yeah.
Anyway, if you guys want to talk about Drive to Survive for a few minutes, go right ahead, because I have nothing to contribute to that, because...
Did you watch any of it?
No,
Oh.
Okay.
haven't seen
So you-
shit.
All right. So, Steven, do you want to start with your review of the season, like what you thought of it?
It was okay.
Yeah, I'm not
Right,
gonna
like-
lie. I got bored. I got so bored.
Our thoughts on the last couple seasons of Drive to Survive, or I guess even its progression from season 1 to this season 6 now. Yeah, Thank you, Sean. Thank you. There's your contribution. Good job.
Yay.
Downhill.
Yes. I still think they did, like, okay. It's definitely not the worst thing I've ever watched. But yeah, like, it's literally just, here's some behind the scenes stuff of what we watched. Like, you got Liam Lawson getting told by Horner after, hey, good job scoring points, but you know what, we're going to announce and that's why we're going to announce Daniel and Yuki for next season. But chin up, bud.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
some of the, it is cool to get some of the behind the scenes stuff on, like, Otmar leaving Alpine, some of the talks that Hamilton had in season with Toto, and knowing what we know now about him going to Ferrari.
Mhm.
But yeah, other than that, it's, I don't know, it's just okay.
Yeah. I think at one point, like, I think it was maybe episode 6, and I was watching, and I was like, oh man, like, I'm kind of done. Like, I don't know if I can watch this anymore. It's like, it got to a point where I was like, this is kind of boring. Like, we kind of, like, I don't know. I feel like we predicted it because there wasn't really that much. Like, yes, the behind the scenes is great. And I did find Hamilton's, I know, like, I've been like a Hamilton hater for like so long, but I did find Hamilton's confessional stuff to be the most interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because you really got kind of an understanding of, like, maybe there was a lot of different factors that led into his decision to leave, including the fact that the team basically said, we're not going to listen to what you're saying. When he came to them and said, this is what you need to do for the car to be better. And they're like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. We know what we're talking about. We're just going to do what we're going to do. And then for him to just be right in the end, like, I can imagine that would be an incredibly frustrating situation for him to be in. You know, I loved that Claire Williams was in it because you got the understanding of how difficult it is for a team principal to be a team principal and to be in those stressful situations. I could have really done without Danica Patrick's commentary, which was
I heard that was
quite literally
Oh.
so dumb.
Yeah, there was a. I do appreciate that they're trying because I agree. I liked Claire when she first popped up on my screen. I was like, why the fuck is Claire Williams here? Is she like back with Williams for something? And it's like, no, we're just trying to get different voices so that way we don't have to get memed to death about how Will Buxton over explains everything. Though he did. He also had like he had the best line of talking. Yes, talking about Haas. They're walking into a gunfight with a knife, except instead of a knife, it's a spoon.
They're bringing a spoon. Like, the way he said it too was like utter disdain for the way Haas operates.
Yeah. So trimming down Buxton's time and getting like some good quotes out of him, good. I think they can also find maybe like some other voices other than just here's Danica Patrick,
whose F1 commentary is just bad anyway. There's I feel like there's so many other options that you could choose from than Danica Patrick, who is also like not really great anyway. So yeah, that was my one thing. Like, we were watching it and like I just, as soon as she came on the screen, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, seriously? I was very annoyed. But it was like, it was a solid which is like kind of descriptive of, I feel like, all the seasons from season 2 on.
Yeah.
Season 3 on, I would say.
Yeah. I'd have to go back and rewatch everything. Just slowly slip into madness.
You're already there, buddy. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah. Were there any episodes in particular that stood out to you?
Oh,
Okay.
Honestly,
was the one about the French boys that bad? That's like the only one that I was interested in. Was like the Civil War one or whatever.
Oh, Civil War. Yeah.
I was like, so like, what a dumb title for that
Which is
to
not
begin
that
with,
bad.
because it's really, it wasn't that, like, I mean, they both know that they're not going to ever be best friends because, like, although it was interesting that they used to be really close, but, you know, competition and being like, you know, fighting each other all the time for wins, like, it just gets to you, right? Like, so, but it was kind of interesting to see that, like, when Bruno took over, he like called them into his office and basically was like, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
This has got to stop, because it was just, I guess it was getting bad. Like, the tensions were boiling over, but it was okay. Like, it was interesting to see the different perspectives of what was happening. And I kind of felt really bad for Otmar because I think he was just in a really tough position. But yeah, it was all right. I feel like that might have been the one that stuck out the most because the Otmar stuff was, I think, the most interesting because I felt like just really bad for him because it just kind of, it was this really crappy situation. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say with Otmar, they did a good job covering it in. They basically got him mic'd up right in the middle of figuring out the announcement of like, I didn't have any idea this was happening, and I can't remember who he's talking to, but they're like, so how you doing? And he's just sort of like, well, I'm just shocked, kind of, but I guess I'm done after this race.
Yeah, because it was the middle of a race weekend that they told him.
The middle of Spa weekend.
Middle of Spa.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was well done. I liked I guess like the last third of it. The Forza Ferrari was a good one. I think they showed, I mean, they did their usual highlight of how Ferrari is a religion, but I did like that they got a lot of fan testimonial. Like it sort of seemed like they almost traveled around Italy, put their camera and microphones in a shop, and just said, "Someone talk about Ferrari," or even just like sent like some poor assistant to the back of the shop and said, "How about those Ferraris?" And then people just started going off about it. And like Fred Vassar, "Oh, he's not Italian. He can't lead this team. He doesn't even speak Italian," which was hilarious to hear. Because like, really, that's your criteria, is that he speaks Italian? Because it didn't work so well with Bonato.
That's literally just.
He's
like
in a vineyard. He's
like
sitting in a
to
vineyard
Toronto.
with Gunther.
That's going to Toronto and asking people what they think of any sports team, and people will just go off for like an hour. I guarantee. It's good to show that kind of passion, though, because I think everyone knows fans like that.
Yes, you'll like it, because especially with all they show fan reactions during Monza when Sainz and Leclerc are battling, and they're like, "These fucking idiots are driving me mad. Why are you fighting?"
That's fair.
So, but then Three's a Crowd was good too, because that's the
Red Bull
AlphaTauri episode.
Yeah.
That
one was good.
That was a good one, showing like, because that's the episode where Lawson finds out you're not driving next year, even though you've been really good, and it shows Yuki's frustrations and Yuki's frustrations with his performance on the track, and the disappointment that he had in Japan not being the car to score points. Shows Daniel's frustration with the hand injury, and they also got some of the work when he's getting his hand worked on afterward with physio, and how much pain he was actually in. Like there's the one scene, not to really spoil it, but because he's got screws and a plate put into his hand, the physio guy literally like just starts pushing, and you can see him like on the verge of tears. And it's like, yeah, this guy can't, like, Buxton made the whole point of, you might not be able to come back from the injury, and some people might be like, it's a hand injury, how bad could it be? And you see that, and it's like, no, you can understand how bad an injury is when you see that, and then imagine having to do that for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Every weekend. Well, to race on that in an hour and a half every weekend, and also qualify and also practice. So, but yeah, no, like,
out of 10, what'd you give it?
6.5.
Yeah, 6.
It's solid. I got what I wanted from it at this point, and I think it's almost like sort of like all-star games with ball and stick sports. I do sort of get this isn't really for me anymore. I'm already invested so much. I think like this goes for all three of us. We're so invested in the sport that we know a lot of this stuff. We get a little bit extra with the behind the scenes commentary and those behind the scenes shots of, again, Otmar, Fred Vassar sitting down with his two guys after Monza, that sort of stuff. It's good to see. You got McLaren talking the business side, Zach Brown having to answer to sponsors, which is a side we don't really see. You get to see some of that, but like, I think for a newer fan, this would also be more fun, and they'd probably rate it a little bit higher. But again, I think now Drive to Survive is not for the fully invested fan. It's more for newer fans. Here's what happens, and here's how you can understand things. It's still not quite back to the level of understanding of just the midfield teams, but
okay, fair enough. So moving on from Drive to Survive, give our predictions for F1 this year.
Yes.
Yes.
Do we want to do the same as last year? We'll do all 10 constructors in order and the top 5 drivers. That sound good?
Yeah. I think
Yep.
that makes sense.
What do you want to
Yep.
start with?
Constructors, I think.
Constructors or
obviously. Yeah,
drivers?
constructors.
Okay.
That's obvious.
We'll do constructors. Why not?
Does anybody have Red Bull over, or anybody over Red Bull in the constructors?
Nope.
Going once.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not
Good.
gonna be Delulu this
Good.
year.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's winning the race for second?
Red team.
Ferrari.
Okay, we are all agreeing so far.
Okay.
This is interesting. Third team. This might be where it mixes up. I was wrestling with this a little bit.
I have my choice for this.
I have mine too.
I think I have mine too.
Okay, mine's
Sean?
McLaren.
Mine's also McLaren.
Okay, we're still 3 for 3 on this. I mean, so, like, to be fair, McLaren, I think if you take out the first third of their season, they're right in the mix for P2 last year. So.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see if we can switch it up for number 4.
I have my number 4.
Yeah, me too.
Go for it. One of you.
Aston Martin.
Aston Martin.
Oh God. We're all
Are you-
thinking the
Oh,
exact
no.
same.
Are we all in the exact same
I'm-
thought process for this?
Well,
I
okay,
think
so with
so.
that, with how we already talked about this, we're gonna put Merc at 5, right? No one's
Yeah,
got a
Merc at
surprise
5.
jumping
Yep.
into
Yeah.
number 5.
So our top 5 are
All
the
right.
same. We all think it's going to be Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, Aston, Mercedes. We think Mercedes is going to drop from 2nd to 5th. We all think that.
Yeah,
Yep.
we all think that.
That's fair.
Okay. Number 6.
V-carb.
Okay.
I was just gonna say V-carb.
Jesus Christ. Okay, someo's got to switch it up at some point here because
Okay, no. You know what? Williams.
Okay.
Jesus. Okay, fine.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, Williams is my 7.
Okay. I had Williams at 7 too, so
Aha.
Taylor. I
Okay,
guess
so
you're
I'll
in.
put V-carb.
Okay, that's the one.
We have one switch so far. Bottom 3. Who's winning the race to the bottom? Who's at 8?
Who's 8? 8 is Kick, Steak, Sauber, Fucker.
I want to put steak, but for being different, Haas.
No, don't. Oh, okay. Jeez. Very.
Actually, no.
confident
You
in
actually no.
Haas.
You know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna put Alpine.
Okay, there we go. Now we got some difference because I stuck with steak. That's
Yeah.
my gut
No.
feeling.
I think Alpine at 8, and then Steak, motherfuckers at 9. Is it Steak? Is it Kick? What is it? Kick Steak?
Kick, steak, Sauber F1. I don't freaking know. Steak F1. They just goes by steak F1.
Yeah.
Or
Anyway.
kick. I don't know.
We all say
Green
Haas
machine.
last.
Yes. No, Taylor said Haas.
Hold on.
Oh, Taylor said Haas
So-
8th. Oh.
I said Haas 8, so I'll do Alpine 9th, and I'll put Kick Sauber, whatever, at 10th.
Okay.
Maybe they struggle. I don't know. To be different.
Okay. So yeah, it's really only after 6 and 2. We'll put. I'll put an asterisk next to Taylor's because that's somewhat begrudgingly.
See, I thought my bold thing was putting Mercedes 5th.
I thought I was going to be that too, but then again, I was like, Sean likes Aston. So he's
Well,
probably
we
not
were
going to put them
all-
too low.
We're all thinking the same thing for the top 5 this year.
Mercedes gonna be 3rd. Just watch.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
We will see. All right, drivers.
drivers
We can't
top
be
five?
the. Yeah, we can't all be the same on this. I hope.
Okay, well, we obviously are all putting Max Verstappen at
Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
first. Okay,
Yeah, Max Verstappen.
Okay.
cool. Charles Leclerc
Okay.
for 2.
Sergio Perez.
Perez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I am going to put Leclerc as well.
Okay.
Oh. I was going to put Sergio at 3.
Sergio at 3.
I was gonna put Leclerc at 3.
Why am I still typing this? I think.
That's a great question, man.
At 3, I had Lando.
Oh. Okay.
Don't hate that. Also,
I think with how McLaren performed last year, he can take a jump. And I'm also going to say Norris gets his first win this year at some point.
Okay. I'd put Lando at 4.
Okay. Sean? I had Perez 4th.
Sainz.
Sainz?
Yep.
Okay. And 5th.
Alonso.
Okay. John?
Now I say Norris.
Now you say Norris? Okay.
Yep.
And that's where I put Sainz. All right. There we go. Finally some difference.
Okay.
That isn't...
I have one more also to finish off with before we go into our fantasy.
Okay.
Head-to-heads.
Head-to-heads. Ooh, okay.
Driver head-to-heads.
What does that even mean?
Like, who's going to win the teammate battle?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like, for the beginning, we can all put Verstappen because we all had Verstappen over, and we can all put Leclerc as well because we all have Leclerc over.
Yeah.
Leclerc over Sainz. We all have Norris over Piastri. Taylor's the only one who has another constructor in there, so I'm going to put Alonso.
I think Alonso over Stroll.
I also have Alonso over Stroll.
I was going to say, I don't think anyone will not take that.
Yeah. I already did my bets for all these. That's why I'm looking at my phone.
I see. Okay.
Okay, so we're all on the same page. So everybody has the same RB. Everybody has the same Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin. So let's do Mercedes next because that's just going down the order.
Russell.
Hamilton. Oh. Okay.
I'm also going to go Russell there.
Okay. Well, I have to bet on the future Ferrari guy, so.
Oof, already did.
That's fair. The delusion hits.
Not even in the red yet.
All right, so 2 soy boys in Hamilton. All right, V-Carb.
Ricardo.
Okay, we're all on the same page again.
Okay.
Williams.
Albon.
Yeah, that's no doubt.
If anybody took Sargent, no.
Steak.
Joe.
Bottas.
I'm very torn on this.
That's a hard one, eh? It's who's gonna get lucky.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be the guy who shows his ass a lot.
Okay. Be prepared to be wrong on that one.
Okay.
All right.
Alpine.
Gasly.
Ocon.
Gasly.
Can I just vote neither?
Lawson, late substitution.
Yeah. Or who's the next big thing? F2 French driver.
Theo Pocher.
That's all. All right, Theo Pocher it is.
Okay.
No. I'm gonna say Gasly.
Okay.
And Haas. Hulk or Magnussen.
Oh, right. I honestly had to remind myself who drives for Haas. Magnussen.
I went Hulkenberg.
Wow.
Hulkenberg.
He's never. Hulkenberg's the most overrated fucking driver ever.
I agree.
God.
All right, there we go.
All right.
Fantasy time. Who wants to be the first person to do their fantasy team?
I can go.
Go for it.
Okay,
The
so
guy
my
who made
team
his team
yep.
with about
Before we
3 minutes.
Yeah, so my team name is
right before.
V Carbs are the enemy. The old
Okay.
Austin Powers line. Okay, so my drivers. You're going drivers or constructors?
Do drivers.
Go drivers. Yeah.
So I have both Williams boys, both Sargent
Okay.
and Albin. I have.
I already see where the strategy is going.
I have my one Aston Martin, who is Alonso.
Okay.
I have teammate of former world champion Valtteri Bottas.
Mm-hmm.
And my driver number one is Max Verstappen.
Of course.
I'm shocked.
Constructor, Red Bull.
I say, if you're taking two Williams, it's to get the Red Bull constructor.
And Kick Sauber.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right. Taylor?
Okay, so my team name. In keeping with the theme of trains or whatever, I went with the Delulu Express.
Okay.
So my team consists of drivers, Verstappen, obviously, Leclerc, obviously, Stroll, Albon, and Bottas. Which I think decent. And my constructors are Ferrari, obviously, and Williams.
Okay.
Nice.
Illusions in there, so... Okay, Steven, you've
We'll
been
see.
grinning and just I feel like you're thinking about your team name, so
Yes.
what?
I think you guys will like my team name because I didn't pick a driver from this team, but I'm still going with it because I really want. I was gonna do something on Steiner until he left, and it sort of blew it up. Until it gave me a genius idea, and I'm not gonna try and butcher the Japanese, but basically what I did was go to Google Translate and translate from English to Japanese. I need to phone, which is, I'm not gonna butcher it, but I basically put in Japanese, I need to phone Gene as my team name. Sean's trying not to laugh. I can see it.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways, okay, so my team. I also went for Verstappen, shockingly.
Oh,
I took
yeah.
Piastri, Sonoda, Alonso, and Albin. And then my
Oh, yeah.
constructors are Williams and Aston Martin.
Damn it. He's probably going to win again this year.
Yeah,
Who?
probably.
Me?
That's
Yeah.
that's a good team. Damn. Ah.
Yeah, see, the other team name could have been like Run It Back, but
I'm expecting to win every race at least. That's my hope.
exactly.
That's fair.
It's literally gonna come down to just depth scoring.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
We shall.
Well,
So,
good job.
if you want to join our fantasy league, it's going to be on our Twitter account. Don't try and search it. It's fucking bullshit what they did to this and how
It's
they.
such a dumb
kinda
app
butchered.
this year.
Hmm?
It's so butchered.
Yeah, they butchered how it is.
Yeah.
Like, why do they have to change it so much? They changed
Yes.
it once, and that was fine, but why did they have to do it again this year?
Yes. And if you want to make it easier to find it, make sure when you're in the league page, you pin the league. And that way it creates a separate category and then you can easily check it. Because I honestly thought the league was going to be impossible to find again. I was getting really pissed off. But we found a way. So.
Okay. And on that note, thank
Best
you very
of
much
luck.
for listening. Yes, best of luck in fantasy. We will watch Max win this weekend, and then we'll go from there and see how the rest of the season plans out. Well, it shall be fun. Thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Spare Parts Racing Podcast. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and follow the show on Twitter at Spare Parts Racing. That's Spare Parts RACIN, and on TikTok at Spare Parts Pod. Follow the hosts at Sean Chavarella, at Stephen Clary, and at Tay Moore.